Hey everyone, Dan Saavedra here from MergeYourData, and this is day 13 of the 90-day YouTube sprint about signal analytics. And today we're going to be jumping into actively preventing churn using signals. Let's get into it. Who am I? I'm Dan Saavedra, founder of this company, MergeYourData. We're a signal analytics consulting firm. I've been working in data for 12 years. That part's not important. The contents of this presentation and a quick video are. So who is this relevant to? If you're trying to prevent churn, you're probably someone in RevOps leadership, customer success leadership, or operations leadership. Sometimes sales will be involved in this as well. But overall, you're the people who are responsible for maintaining customer relationships, making sure that they sign up again the next year. And that doesn't mean just reaching out when it's renewal time and pinging them and saying that there's a price increase and we love that you're a customer. It means maintaining an active relationship so that they don't churn, that there's not really a conversation needed around even just renewing, but more around what other opportunities there are for that client and the product or service they're using with you. Hopefully, ideal case, you talk to a client when it's around renewal time and they're asking to upgrade, or in the middle of a cycle, they're asking to upgrade and you don't even have this problem. But we are here because maybe we do have this problem. So why you would care about this video is, one, you're losing customers you worked hard to get. It's very expensive to acquire new customers. It takes a lot of experimentation and a lot of investment. And so you want to keep the ones that you have. Two, net revenue retention is below 100%, which means that you are contracting. This is a giant siren. Not a good way to be as a business because you are eventually not going to be around for much longer. So net revenue retention, we'll dive into the actual calculation a little bit here later in the video. Obviously, if you're in leadership, you probably know what this means already. Three, your brand is being damaged by bad word of mouth. So optimal case if someone churns is that they just quietly churn. They don't renew. They don't talk bad about you to anyone. They don't voice their opinion anywhere publicly. But a lot of times people are frustrated because they felt like they didn't get value for their investment. And so there could have been tons of other things that happened during the relationship. But if your brand is being damaged publicly through forums, through internal chats, through review websites, just word of mouth while talking to people at events, then you're going to suffer long-term in terms of revenue, unless there are literally no other competitors who do what you do. And so we want to hopefully avoid that situation. So in general, we want to be in front of the curve. You always want to stay ahead of a relationship from souring. You want to be proactive, understand problems as they arise, or try to surface them if people have been holding them back so that you can address them and improve on your relationship. And so in general, we have to remember the fundamentals. Chair is sinking, so I'm going to pump back up here. But you have to remember the fundamentals. And so this means that your product or service must provide value. Clearly, if your product or service doesn't do anything, then there's not really a good justification for renewing for that person unless they're just not paying attention to the credit card bills and you're small enough to not raise any flags. So you must provide value. At the same time, you have to surface that value and make it aware to your customers how you are providing value. So we'll talk a little bit about that later. Next, you want to be timely and effective with your support throughout the relationship. And so when people ask questions, when they reach out to your support team, sending them through some AI chat for 20 minutes is probably going to piss them off. If you see that they have a problem or that they're frustrated or they're reaching out to someone, then you want to make sure that you're responding in a timely manner, meaning something reasonable. It doesn't have to be in a minute. The sooner the better, but it shouldn't be 2 weeks later or just entirely unaddressed. And it also should be effective support. So sending someone in a runaround situation where they're having to contact someone else, where you just can't help them with their problem at all, and you should be able to, then that's going to sour the relationship. So you want to focus on that as well. Regular communication with value. What we're talking about here is regular cadence, either emails or even meetings, depending on what type of service or product you provide, where you're talking to your clients, you're understanding how they feel along the process of doing business with you. You're providing value when you meet, either with new features, some type of solution to their existing problems that your tool or your service can provide, stuff like that. You don't want to just have check-in meetings where you're just talking to them and having a good time and not getting anything done, because those aren't valuable. That's not going to prevent people from churning in the long run. And last but not least, being proactive when problems arise. If you do see something that's wrong, either with your own product or service, or something that has surfaced in your client's business as you've been doing work with them, you want to make sure to be proactive, point these out. You don't need to cry wolf every time something happens, but if it's something significantly impacting revenue, you should bring it up. And you should be proactive in also trying to provide solutions if that's within your scope. And so those are just the fundamentals of good customer success, right? It's being a decent human being, treating people like they are other human beings. And so before we get on to the signals portion, since signals is data, we're talking about net revenue retention. This is usually the main metric that executives in customer success or operations or whoever's responsible for retaining customers, this is the main one that they're going to be focusing on. And so this tells you the overall health of your business. So most likely the CEO and any executive in sales will care about this as well. It's basically whether you're growing or shrinking. So you have your starting monthly recurring revenue, your contraction monthly recurring revenue, your churn, and your expansion recurring revenue. For service businesses or one-off sales, this looks a little bit different, but most likely there is some type of upsell or continuous sell process. If you're a business, it's not a one and done deal for most B2B companies. And so you'll be able to calculate something similar to this. For software companies and for recurring revenue models, this is going to be a straightforward calculation. So the calculation is your starting MRR, what you have for that month going forward, contraction MRR. So this would be downgrades that you're expecting for whatever reason, whether it was communicated or whether there's a natural downgrade or contraction MRR, subtracted by your churn MRR. So the people who actively churn from your recurring revenue sources during that time period. And then you add on the expansion MRR. So this is any new sales that you're getting or expansion on top of existing sales that you currently have. You divide that by what you started with, and you multiply it by 100. And so basically, if your percentage after this calculation is over 100, you're expanding. If it's below 100, you are contracting. Simple enough. And so this is a very, very important metric to focus on, because if you're contracting, then that means you have a leakage problem. You're not going to grow as a company. You're going to spend a lot of money to acquire new customers to replace those that are leaving, and you're getting nowhere. Bad things to come if that's the case. So where signal analytics come in? Three main areas that we see them come in with clients. One is customer KPI tracking. So this is the value that you provide. And so your own customers' performance related to your services is going to be a signal that it's going to indicate whether or not there's a risk of churn happening. So you can actively prevent churn if you see that they're not getting the performance that they expected with you and whatever KPI that you are measuring with them. And so this is a way to get in front of churn, is either see that you are providing a lot of value and call that out to your customers, or that you're not up to par and that you're going to do something about it. You're going to work with them and you're going to fix the problem. So that's number one. Number two, product usage data. So if you are a product business, then you will have product data. If you're specifically a software product business, you will have product usage data that can tell you exactly how active people are on the platform, whether they're running into certain issues over and over again, if they're checking on certain pages, like let's say there's like a product announcement page or a product updates page, and they're checking in on that a lot. These are types of insights, types of signals that can tell you the dependency they have on your tool because they're logging in a lot, they're using it a lot, and it can also tell you the opportunity. And so if there is some spot where they're bumping up onto these usage limits or these feature limits, then you can reach out to them and have an upsell opportunity or an expansion opportunity. But at the same time, if people aren't logging in and they aren't using certain features, and so it's opening you up to be compared to other tools that do the same thing, then you can jump in front of that and be proactive in your communication with the customer. You can share different features that they might not know about inside the platform. You can even suggest that they downgrade the number of licenses if it's going to help with a long-term relationship, because you don't want people to be paying for licenses that they're not using And then when they go to reevaluate their own usage on the platform, then it'll trigger an entire reevaluation of your tool versus other competitors in the area. And so this can be similar with service-based companies based off of other types of usage, whether this is like a ticketing system, whether this is a show rate to meetings. You can play with a similar category of data to understand the dependency they have on your team, and then the opportunity for solving other problems that they might be facing. And so you can adapt this product usage data category to also service indicators data. So that's what we do. Third is intent data. So these are the thoughts and problems your customer has. And so you can use tools that sell intent signals, whatever those intent signals may be. We covered them in other videos here, but you can use it as an indicator that they're looking to churn and get ahead of that and prevent them from actively churning. And so if they're looking for competitors in your area, or they're searching for articles that are comparing you to another vendor, to another service provider, then clearly they might be unhappy with what's going on. You might be able to still save that relationship and prevent churn by getting ahead of the curve and just making sure to stay in contact with them. And so once again, remember the fundamentals, provide value when you reach out to them. Don't be creepy about it. Don't be like, I saw you were searching for this, or I saw this happened. Maybe be a little more subtle in your communications, offer some tips via email, or talk about how you're different from other competitors and what advantages there might be with staying with your firm or with using your firm's product or service more and more. So there's tons of different angles you can take on that one. But just like you would be looking for a new client with that type of intent data, you can do it to monitor the existing clients and what their intent may be. So monitor is probably a dirty word for a lot of people, but it's the world that we live in. And so this is one way to do that if you're already paying for these intent tools. And so why they help? They help the client understand and communicate value that you provide. So using these signals, you'll be able to show that this is what you're doing for the business and that you understand the problems that they're facing and might be facing that are out of your scope currently. So feeling understood is a great way to prevent churn in the first place. So you want to make sure to use that data to show that you understand and communicate value. To identify at-risk customers. Like I said, if there's intent data that they're searching for competitor solutions, then you're going to be able to identify these at-risk customers, make sure that your customer success team is focusing on them and saving that account, obviously not at the detriment of your other clients. 3, improve timing of communications with your signals. We talked about it from the marketing and sales perspective for new accounts coming in, but being able to reach out at the right time with the right message can prevent a lot of issues down the line. And so being active with the timing of those communications is going to be really big in preventing churn. So last but not least, this is one of our favorite subjects because we talk a lot high level in these videos, but there's always another step, which is analyze and automate. So you have all these signals, the strategy to take on, and now you're going to actually use it. You're going to look deeper into these signals. You're going to analyze for specifics, and then you're going to automate something in your CRM or your customer management platform, whatever it may be, whatever acronym, tool, category that you're using to maintain those relationships. And you can automate any type of signal to reach out to or to notify an account manager or a salesperson expansion, or a salesperson responsible for renewals and expansion, and let them know that there might be a problem, that something needs to be addressed, communication needs to be improved, value needs to be improved, something like that. So this is where the action step occurs. Send that data back to the CRM if you're using HubSpot, for example, back to Service Hub. If you're using some other customer management platform, send it back there. That was it for this video. I ask you, please, just like the last video, take one action, like, comment, share in a company chat. If you don't agree with what I say, if you hate listening to my videos, I don't know why you've listened this long anyways, but comment and make sure to provide some activity. I like to hear what people are thinking. I'm trying to get some momentum behind this series here. And then next videos, we'll do a deep dive on our new free signals resource. So we've been talking a lot about different things here with signal analytics. We're going to have a free resource that you can get by signing up in the link in the description a couple days after this video is released. So make sure to do that. Otherwise, subscribe on YouTube. I'm Dan Saavedra from MergeYourData. We are a signal analytics firm that helps take these signal data points, bring them back into your CRM so you can take action on them, increase your retention, increase your efficiency in your marketing and sales initiatives, and stop missing targets, help you stop missing targets when it comes to these overall KPIs that you're measuring in terms of net new revenue. Thanks for watching.